I think we are live. Hey everybody, this is Guru Francis. I have Guru Paul here with me today, and we're both going to be teaching tomorrow at the Collab here in Riverside. Now, unfortunately, Guru Janelle could not attend because she says that she's doing other things. No, I'm just kidding. Janelle, we miss you. Of course, we can't wait to see you tomorrow. But yeah, so we're going to be doing the collab tomorrow, and I have Guru Paul here to talk about what he'll be sharing tomorrow. How's it going, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm having a relaxing day, trying to
Good.
finish off, decide what I want to do next.
Yeah, I understood. Understood. So tell me, my first question to you, brother, is that accent real?
Depends which accent you're talking about. When I cook, I talk in a French accent. I like to make the wine and all these things.
No, I always make fun of Paul, and because I don't know if that accent is too beautiful, and I always give him a hard time about that. But anyway, so again, everybody just wanted to give everybody a heads up. Tomorrow we're doing a call with Guru Paul and Guru Janelle here in downtown Riverside at the Filipino Martial Arts School headquarters. There's still time to sign up and the website is right below us at fmaschool.com/collab. Also wanted to let you guys know that even though we were asking for donations, we're not doing that anymore. If you want to donate, it's always appreciated. It's always great. We're always grateful for anybody that does this. But the main reason why we decided to do this is we wanted to give back to the community, and the community is everybody that's around us. So we definitely, if you want to donate, you're more than welcome to. If not, just come on down. We just want to have a good time. We just train with everybody. So that's fmaschool.com/collab. So Group Paul, so let me ask you this. What is your FMA background?
Ooh, background. There we go. We're going back now.
Yeah.
I started
Besides that
relatively late. I started in grad school at Indiana University, and there was a class in modern arnis. So under the Remy Presa's line, Chuck Grouse, and my instructor there, Jason Gearhart, a very dear friend. And I loved it. This is great, weapons and things like that. And I loved the tapi that he showed on all the little locks and the fun stuff he did. And there was another Kali class in that program. It was called Intro to Stick Arts. And now that came from the Inner Santo method background from Patrick Kelly through Jason Winkle, Larry Hartzell, kind of that, and the Paul Vunak line as well. That kind of lineage. And I took both those classes multiple times while I was there. I was very fortunate to be able to be in a program where I could take those classes essentially for free because of my grad work. And it was fantastic. And then I moved to Florida, and we're just maybe you can edit out that bit and pretend I didn't move to Florida for 2 years. But then I came to to California. I started working at UCLA, discovered the Inner Santo Academy, and kind of been there, training for 15 years. But I have a 5-year-old son, so the past 5 years, not as much as the previous 10. A few other priorities there as well, but being able to train with Guru Dan on the regular was pretty cool.
Good. That's awesome. So, and then what did you go to school for, sir? You said you went to grad school in Indiana. What did you go to school for?
Yeah, that was a fun time. I went. My major was in kinesiology, and I actually did 2 master's degrees there. First one was in applied sports science, very kind of academic science based, research based, and then I kind of moved on to like sport marketing and management, which is predominantly what I do now. For the UCLA martial arts program, I'm the administrator, the director of that program, make sure it all kicks off okay. Like we've got classes that are just finished that I need to text some people to see how they went.
Wonderful. So then one of the things that I've always been very proud of, you and I are brothers, this, but one of the things I've been very proud of with you was your work when you did that TED Talk about your kinesiology and Filipino martial arts. How did you, when you first learned FMA, when you were going to grad school, and then you were taking those classes in grad school, how soon or how quickly did you connect the two?
That's an interesting question. So it wasn't until you're forcing me to go back to Florida. It wasn't until Florida where I didn't really train much because there were no instructors. So all I did was I taught the students there what I knew from those classes that I'd taken at Indiana. And what happened was, well, let me tell you another story. This is a funny story of my first day with Guru Dan at the Inocencio Academy. So the intro to stick arts class that I'd taken at Indiana, I'd done some basic cub, some Sinawali, some Heaven Six, a little bit of Sombrada, couple of disarms, and I'd taken that class many times. And because I hadn't been exposed to the Filipino martial arts world, in my mind, that was Kali. That's all there was. And so I get to the Inocencio Academy my first day, and we start off doing cub, Heaven Six, Sinawali, and all these things. And I'm like, I got this. I was feeling I had a little ego moment there. And then Guru Dan says, okay, that's the warm-up finished. And I'm like,
that was the warm-up.
Warm-up? What else is there? And then my mind gets, to see everything else that was there. So, I took what I knew from Indiana, that very small, tiny slice of Kali, Filipino martial arts, to Florida. And because I didn't have anywhere else to go, we just rep it out. And we kind of got bored a little bit. So I started mixing and blending, going, okay, let's do this drill, back to back, 3 times in a row. And let's see if we can do it without any mistakes. And I used to say to my main student there, Jeremy Howard, if we don't do this with no mistakes 3 times in a row, we don't leave. Like, we have to do this. And so we'd get to the end of the 3rd rep and we'd make a mistake and we'd like, oh man, and we'd have to do it again. And so great reps, great training. But I started to feel like, okay, what's going on in my brain right here? We both know how to do these drills. We both know what they are, but we keep messing up. So there's a little brain scramble going on. And that's the start of it, really. That's where I started to design a lot of the drills. And then I didn't really get to the science of it till I got to UCLA later.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what was the thing that you first, I guess, what was the first epiphanic moment that you said, okay, you were saying until we get this three times straight in a row, like, when did you really start, like, what was the first discovery that you had where FMA and kinesiology and self-healing, I think that's what you were talking about in your TED Talk. It's hard to understand you with your accent. Just kidding. I always make fun of your accent. How did you make that? How was that first discovery?
So there's a story Guru Dan's been telling for a while about a student, and I will probably, for folks watching, I'll probably get a bunch of this wrong, but I think it was a student in Virginia or West Virginia who came up to Guru Dan after a seminar and wanted to thank him because he had amnesia from a car accident, couldn't remember his wife or kids, and he attributed getting his memory back to the Heaven Six drill. And Guru always talks about that in a connection to kind of neuroscience. Not that Guru knows a lot about neuroscience, but he's quite a knowledgeable man on many topics. Right. And I think something is there. And so that story always stuck with me. And it also stuck with a professor at UCLA, Dr. Janet O'Shea, who's written a wonderful book on martial arts. I think it's like Learn, Play, Fight or something like that. I can't remember. And she suggested, that, okay, there's something to this. Let me see if we can get some grant money and do a study. And so in 2013, we did a study and we got some interesting results. We had too much attrition, meaning a lot of people stayed and finished the research study. So we couldn't publish it, but we got some interesting results, which led to further connections with other neuroscientists in the kind of academic world. And so I've been collaborating with them ever since. But that was the spark. Guru Dan's story, the fact that Guru Dan is so sharp that he knows every kid's name. Yeah. He's got 40 plus kids. He's just sharp as a tack, and he's 87. Yes. And he's been doing this nonstop for 60 years. Like, what's the connection there? So we've been diving down that rabbit hole ever since that, about 2013, I think it was.
And that's so amazing. One of the things that I've always shared with a lot of people about FMA is FMA has a longer longevity than a lot of other martial arts, only because part of it is that when you're, every punch that you throw and every punch that you hit, it's a trauma to you, right? It's a trauma to your body. So, but the fact that we train with weapon first, with sticks first, the trauma is not directly to our body. It's directly to the stick and then by the time it gets to your head, it has dissipated tremendously as far as the impact is concerned. So I see a lot of physical capabilities with old Philippine martial arts practitioners because there's less trauma to their body. But when you shared with us that TED Talk video, that's when I'm like, well, there's also a mental health, mental cognitive health to it, because of the bridging of both hemisphere of the brain and how FMA kind of deals with that. Now, can you discuss with us real quickly, as quickly as concise as you can, brother, not to water down what you've been studying, but can you share with us, to us, in layman terms, why the crossing of the midline is so important to cognitive mental health?
So that's one of many, many different things in what we do in Kali or any.
Yeah, but that's the
all
only word that I can pronounce. So cognitive is
yeah.
the only word I know how to pronounce. That's why I'm bringing that one up. So,
But the crossing of the center line is important, but it's not a silver bullet. It's not the magic thing. It's a lot of different things. If you want to use the fancy terms, crossing the midline would be contralateral movement. Keeping it on the same sign like a vertical redondo would be ipsilateral movement. But those, I forget those, and I might
you're
have got
making
those
these words. You're making those words up, man. Just because you.
But what happens there is that it's our bodies, our brain actually likes symmetry, and our brains are actually pretty lazy. They want the easy path through. And so typically doing things, what we do every day, walking, things stay on the same side of our bodies. And so bringing this over here is just a little bit more complex, and it challenges the brain, and then it creates it's just like a muscle. You have to challenge the muscle for it to become stronger. You have to keep challenging the brain for it to become healthier and more intelligent, for whatever use of that word you want to use, or to have better cognitive health. It's got to be constantly changed. But there's three, I'll give you the three main things that are really important for brain health that's connected to Filipino martial arts. First is exercise. You got to do the exercise. That brings more blood to the brain. It improves neurogenesis, which is the growth of new brain cells. It improves neuroplasticity, which is the connection of more brain cells together, a denser network. And then on top of that, it's the complexity, right? So if you do the same thing over and over and over again, running, rowing, riding a bike, things like that, tremendous health benefits to that. But at some point you get really good at that and your brain's not working much anymore. It's in very efficient mode and you're constantly doing the same thing. It's called a closed skill. So we want to do more open skills, which we have, where there are stimuli. Oh, there's a stick coming towards my head. Should I do something? What can I do? Can I move? Can I block? Can I hit first? Can I be faster? These open skills increase that complexity and drive the brain at a higher rate. Think of higher RPMs. It's got to think faster and process all this different information. So those things, so the exercise is fact. There's no dispute about that. The complexity of exercise and the improvement of cognitive health is pretty new. Past couple of decades that it's been studied. And pretty much every neuroscientist you speak to will go, yeah, we think it's a benefit, but there's not, academics takes a very long time. So there's not a lot where we can say this is fact, but we think it's that's why it's the hypothesis of my program. The third part is the reason I think that Filipino martial arts or martial arts in general is better than, say, dance or sports, which both have open skills, both complex activities. And it's because we run a little bit of risk, right? Even though we train with our brothers and sisters and we train in a safe environment, we are adding an element of risk. The stick is coming towards my head, might be a soft stick, but there's still a bit of risk. And what we think that does is it puts our brains into that higher gear of fight or flight, which you may have heard of before, where there's additional adrenaline, cortisol, norepinephrine, epinephrine, and those stress cortisol, those stress chemicals, the cocktail of chemicals, puts us into a higher state of learning that improves that neurogenesis, that neuroplasticity a little bit more than some other activities. So that's why I do it. And of course, FMA is endless. Like the number of combinations that we can do from the different systems that we have is just absolutely unlimited. So that's why I kind of chose it to push this kind of theory forward.
That was a lot of fancy words that this person can process. But no, joking aside, no, I mean, many Filipino martial artists have seen this throughout their careers, that there is a health benefit. Not just the physical. That's a given because your body's moving, absolutely, right? But the cognitive sharpness is still there. I mean, I still remember speaking to Supreme Grandmaster Diony Cañete before he passed away. Unfortunately, he died during COVID. he remembers every person's name that he meets. And so when I saw him again, I think the last time I saw him was 2017. Yeah, 2017. He still remembered who I was. Now we can attribute that to not just because his mind is sharp and he does FMA 24/7. We can attribute also because I am unforgettable, and that is just an impossible thing to forget who I am and what I bring. So, sorry. Whoa, little big headed there, kind of thing there, but no, but I mean, I know a lot of Filipino martial artists who are still sharp as a tack. Now there are some of them that are sharp as a bowling ball, but for the most part, they're still as sharp as a tack. Maybe that's the sharpness that they can get, but whatever. But that now one of the things that I also, when I remember watching your TED talk, you were working with somebody who has, I believe, cerebral palsy.
That's correct, Daniel. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Daniel. So, and I mean, how's he doing? And does he still do FA training?
I don't know. I trained him for about 5 to 6 years. He was one of the first things that I started doing when I started working at UCLA in 2009. And so he was in a special program that gave him access to our and was able to kind of be in the gym at UCLA and things like that. And he graduated from that. And the last I heard, he had a job. And I'm in contact with his mum every now and then. And she sends me happy birthday texts and things like that. But I've not trained him for quite a few years now. The big thing that we had from him, so the video I showed, we were doing a little bit of stick work. That was one of the many exercises I did. He came to me to learn how to break fall, because he had hurt himself because he had some trouble balancing and with his gait and his walking. And and I showed him how to do that. But then I realized he couldn't stand unaided without holding on to something. And we spent a lot of that 5 years getting him to go from kneeling position to 1 foot, 1 kneel, and to stand from there. And that was the predominant thing. And actually, a lot of what I did to get him there, it looked nothing like Kali. It looked nothing like martial arts. But the drills from Kali, the methods from martial arts, the teaching styles, and the things that I learned from all of my teachers were absolutely ingrained in that, in getting him to stand on his own from a kneeling position, like a lunge position, and to stand up. And so a lot of what I do, I've had a long-term client with Parkinson's. A lot of what I did there looked nothing like martial arts, but the methods that I used came from martial arts, and the benefits that I saw, like the idea of sombrada, you hit me, I block, I hit you, you block, in Kali systems. Doing that in different contexts, from a seated position virtually. You can't do sombrada virtually, but you can take the context of it. I'm going to provide you a stimuli. I want you to respond. Now you provide me with a stimuli. I'll respond. And that kind of back and forth is tremendously helpful. So it's not just the fact that we're hitting sticks together. Tremendous benefits from the vibrations and from the sound and from the lovely smell we get from rattan. All those are there, but we can get the benefits without it as well. And that's kind of predominantly what I did with Daniel and some of my other clients who had some movement challenges, basically.
Yeah, so and here's the thing. I know a lot of people when they start FMA or any martial art, but we're talking about FMA right now, it is very difficult for them to be able to do, what took us, like to be able to do up, heaven, or upper body movements, and then walk, and then be able to shuffle, then be able to turn around. I know that takes a while for a lot of people. I mean, it took me what? It took me 5 whole minutes before I mastered everything. So that, well, it's really like 3.5. I don't want to boast. So I round it up. But so, if you're wondering, hey, do I need to be a Filipino martial artist to be a participant of this? No, you don't. You have to start somewhere, though. That's the thing. And then just like when you were a child, every time that you stumble, or every time that you try to do something and you fail at it, everybody will laugh. No, I mean, it's just, we all have to take that risk to stumble a little bit. But in tomorrow's session, it's a very supportive environment. And that's one of the things that Paul and I have always, and even Janelle, have always believed in. We have to create a supportive environment for people to be able to learn. So people who do have whatever physical ailment or physical quote unquote what the society considers as physical limitation, hey, come on down. We'll work with you. We don't, as long as you're willing, as long as you're open minded, and as long as you're willing to learn from your failures, everybody is definitely welcome to join us at the collab. So that is tomorrow. We're checking times at 12 o'clock, and it's from 1 to 6 p.m. Janelle's gonna be teaching first, then myself, and then Guru Paul will be the one that's gonna connect that. He said, when we had that conversation, he's gonna connect the brain to that. He's just gonna tell you, yeah, that comes from your brain. That, thank you for coming to my TED talk again. But yeah, I mean, that's where we want to have, we're going to have a great time. First of all, we're going to have a blast. I think that you will see the bond that all three of us have with each other is gonna shine through the way when we're teaching, right? If at the very least very bit disrupted because we'll be too busy laughing, but 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 ultimately we want people to have a good time. We want people to learn something, and they want people to be challenged, and that's the ultimate thing, is to be challenged. So if you've been thinking about, hey, I want to try FMA, go ahead and try it. This is one of those risk-free trials, since we're not demanding any payments. We're just asking for a donation, and if you don't donate, that's perfectly fine. But we want to give back to the community, and that's what Guru Janelle, Guru Paul, and I are committed to doing, is to giving back to the community, and we're planning to do that tomorrow on Saturday, October 28th, between the hours of 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. check-in time at 12 p.m. For more information, please visit us at www.fmaschool.com/collab. So, Guru Paul, thank you very, very much. I love you. You know I do. And we will see everybody tomorrow at 12 p.m. God bless you all.
Take care, brother. Catch you later.